This is Leaf Life. All things cannabis for all people. Now, Ricker and the Bearded Lorax.
We publish a free magazine called The Leaf, and it's available everywhere in print, at your local retail shop in 14 states. And you can also find it at leafmagazines.com on the World Wide Web. I'm Mike Ricker, your host of Leaf Life, with my co-host Wes Abney, who also goes by the Bearded Lorax.
I speak for the trees.
And of course, there's AJ OG.
Hola, aloha OG.
And Mary J. White.
Baked with love.
Welcome to the second half of this Leaf Life show called UFOs. In just a moment, we'll get into the obvious question of why isn't everyone freaking out? And we'll spin AJ's wheel to see what products Jerry MEAD, who's a truth seeker and a freelance psychonaut, as well as an informed UFO head, and our model for our January weed and wellness issue in Leaf magazines all over the country. This show's Greg the Guinea Pig is going to be trying next. But first, it's time for Not for Nothing. Well, that was a trippy intro.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I liked it. Mary J. White, this has nothing to do with cannabis.
You're right, it doesn't. But you know what it has to do with?
Whoa.
Those irritating people who are really fucking perky at 5 a.m. You know those people.
No one's sitting at this table.
Well, actually, that would be me.
Hey, me too.
You know,
You're
all those,
annoying, Mary.
I know, I'm really annoying.
At 5
but
a.m.
happy most of the time. Okay, but there's a reason. There's a genetic reason for this innate irritation, okay? And it's because Neanderthal DNA, right? They have found now that DNA inherited from our thick, the Neanderthals. Anyway, it contributes
Thick-headed.
to...
Were you going to say thick foreheads?
Yeah.
You're pointing to a forehead.
Yeah, the thing. Anyway.
Okay.
But this DNA apparently contributes to the tendency to be up early. I don't know, maybe you had to protect yourselves. The interesting thing, though, most of the Neanderthal DNA is like Northern European up in there. They're also finding now that a lot of the DNA people have red hair.
Like Jerry and Wes.
Thick red hair. The men grow thick red beards. Okay.
Wes is a strawberry blonde, though.
They also have some
Thank you.
cute little noses.
Oh,
so just
what?
so you
Oh,
know.
look! Both of you have cute little
I'm
noses.
a throwback. Yeah, I'm vintage.
So
Ah, say that,
so you guys are
Jerry.
primitive primate throwbacks.
Yes.
And we love you.
I like it.
I
Yes.
mean, the Lorax, it makes sense.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really
makes
does.
all the sense to
It's
me.
all making sense now.
Neanderthals.
Yeah,
Neanderthals.
exactly. So there you go.
Thank
That's
you,
you
Mary
guys.
J.
Thank you,
White.
Mary.
All right,
You're
AJ, spin that wheel. Let's see what Jerry's going to be hitting
All right,
next.
y'all. So, for our friend here, we've got this West Coast Cure vape pen. This is some birthday cake, Jerry.
Oh,
so
that's
happy
delicious.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes, again, one of the best out of California. I believe you just pull on that.
Automatic draw,
It's
brother.
that auto draw. That auto draw life.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
That was Frosty, right? Happy birthday.
Good job.
I'm glad somebody got my reference. Thank you, Ricker.
Well, I have a Grassroots California hat
Nice.
that is Frosty Nugs.
Oh, beautiful.
So it's a snowman, but he's got a blunt in his hand and
Perfect.
mittens. Yeah, I wore it. I wore it to the
mittens.
Gelato Christmas party. Yeah, everybody's like, "Bro, what's up with your hat?" Well, that's Frosty Nugs, bro.
There you go. Say that.
Yeah, for real.
They
We
got the
love
best
Grassroots
hats.
California.
Frosty
Absolutely.
nuts.
Well,
Is it
they sponsor the show, and all of Wes's and my hats are Grassroots California, and a lot of our apparel as well. Go to grassrootscalifornia.com. How's that West Coast Cure, Jerry?
It's delicious.
Happy
It's
birthday.
super sweet.
Ooh, it does smell sweet.
Right on. All right. Hey, even though you're all calm and collected and beautiful minded from that West Coast Cure vape cart, why the fuck aren't we freaking out? Because there's UFOs everywhere.
Have you been here the last 3-4 years?
Yeah. Shit's
Yes.
been a little
It's
weird.
been out there. I feel like they're just trying to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks these days. Like, what can we freak them out with now? Yeah, in the middle of all this, by the way, peak pandemic. aliens are real. Did anyone catch that? Did you hear that?
No. What? Really?
Yeah, they straight up disclosed right at the beginning of lockdown, which I thought was really interesting.
And we're like, oh, great, one more thing. We don't fucking care. I'm trying not to die. Thank you.
Why then?
What do you mean? They called it the peak or
No, it
during
was
peak pandemic when there was lockdown.
Oh, that's when the UFO disclosures.
Yeah, that's when UFO disclosure started with the U.S. government.
I did notice that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and right during that time, what I thought was real interesting is, so for like forever, for decades, Japan has denied the existence of aliens and UFOs at all, right? And they're actually one of the hotbeds for some reason. I think it has to do with the fact that they're a pinch point of 3 tectonic plates. So there's massive seismic activity and energy right there. It's it's an interesting spot on the planet.
Yes.
And they have a very rich history there of alien interaction. But their government is like, no, they strictly do not exist. Well,
Kinda like
immediately after, exactly, they're still real strict. If you go to Japan, do not bring cannabis. They are very strict.
Yes.
Very strict.
Tell them.
But yes, what I thought was interesting is their denial of UFOs. After our disclosure, our Secretary of Defense met with their Secretary of Defense, and then they're like, oh, yes, they are real, and now we're producing a whole section of our government to research this just out of the blue. So either... I mean, like I said, I am naturally a skeptic. I don't think every blip and blink is, oh, that's intelligent life. You know what I mean? But so this tells me, if you just look at it on the surface, either A, they are disclosing valid information and people, it's undeniable. And so people have to go along with this. Or there's something ulterior, going on here. And they're using this as a smoke and mirrors tactic like they love to do.
Yes.
And it could well be that. And they're getting people on board worldwide for whatever this agenda may be. So either way, it doesn't bode well.
Good word. Agenda. So, there's got to be something going on here, right?
Yeah.
We all know this. We don't know what, but it has to benefit government.
Yes.
Well, not
not necessarily
but all governments.
Because they're treating it as a threat. So they're intimidated by this. And while researching it and clamoring to get whatever this tech may be, whether it's clandestine, interdimensional, extraterrestrial, whatever it may be, whoever has it changes the game. And the main reason, so that whole, the main reason allegedly that people don't want disclosure is because this technology could potentially topple our entire world economy.
Right.
Which is based on the oil.
Yeah.
Essentially the oil dollar.
Sure.
You don't
so
need that.
if we don't need that to produce energy, we don't need, the whole system would fall apart.
But then it would be rebuilt in a better, more economical and environmentally friendly way.
After we finish the Third World War, and a clear winner comes out that owns the new technology. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Now we're sliding into a different show of conspiracy theories because now it's like getting into the one world order type
stick
stuff.
to the UFOs.
So but ideally, that was allegedly in the 50s during Eisenhower's reign. That was the goal of the alleged interaction with all of these entities, was that they were wanting to give us a better system. They wanted to end poverty and give us cure for all this health and all this stuff. And they were on board. And ultimately it was stopped because of capitalistic reasons. You do away with doctors, you do away with banking institutions, you do away with petrochemicals, anything.
Maybe we could
you have
just
free
all be
energy,
naked and run around happy in the fields full of flowers. We don't need all that shit.
Big maybe, Mary. Big maybe.
That's ideal, yeah. But I mean, if you want evidence of that, we can look at our own history. A little guy named Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
He wanted to give free energy to everybody.
Oh,
Shout out Tesla.
Penniless in a hotel.
He's the reason we have
pigeons.
so much. Oh, I know.
They shut him down, took all of his, and then when he died, who goes in? The CIA goes in and clears out all of his stuff and
Of
confiscates
course. Maybe
all
the
of his
CIA.
stuff.
Maybe they are the real aliens. The CIA.
Well, I mean, they're out for our best interests.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Is there like an underlying feeling for people who are very much like on the pinpoint of what's happening, whether these aliens are benevolent or is there an underlying
Well, that's the thing.
idea around that?
We actually have known recorded a minimum of 24 different alien species. So there's a wide variety. So rather than thinking of it as like the gray type aliens, that wasn't really popularized until like the 80s, that ideology. Before that, the vast majority of aliens were humanoid or reptilian or different, like all different kinds. There's even been like alleged aliens that were intangible. They weren't matter formed, so they look like heat signature. Like, you know how you see heat radiating off pavement on a hot day? There's conscious entities that exist in that state, allegedly, right?
You never have to worry about your weight.
just your volume.
Dude.
But yeah, so like some of these creatures could be totally benevolent. Some of them could be here trying to help us actively. Some of them could not be. So, there's even like, if you look at ancient texts like the Vedic texts and things like that, and all across the world, actually, there's stories of like wars into the skies of these deities that are hurling fireballs and crafts that are in this come from the heavens.
Zeus.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So how do we know we're not just battleground for these guys and we got something they want? How do we know we're not what they want?
And that's the ultimate conspiracy theory, is that humans are a genetic experiment created by aliens.
Yes.
And if you even look at like how the continents were split up, and then you had different species of humanoids at different times in different areas, it almost kind of makes you wonder, was it all an experiment?
Yeah.
And they've been intervening and playing with us.
Well, going back to
I
Not
like
for
to
Nothing,
think
what
we're the
happened?
chimpanzees. We're the violent, angry
Yes.
primate
Yes.
animals that, you know, screw each other over and fuck each other over, and
poop
we're
in
totally distracted by
Boo. That
just
sucks.
our basic selves.
Yeah.
So for
We're
the aliens,
learning. We're
if they're
getting
coming
there.
here and they're filling up with water to create, you know, hydrogen gas, or they're grabbing minerals, whatever they're doing, they don't want to fuck with us. Who wants to deal with us? We can't even. What we're arguing about is so stupid.
Or maybe
Oh my
in the
gosh.
culture wars,
They do.
that if these aliens are here, they're like, God, those monkeys are dumb.
Yes.
We're gonna get some platinum and some plutonium
Yeah.
and dip on out of here.
Yes.
We're
that
their
was-
vacation spot. We're their Disneyland. They're going down taking selfies. Look at these guys.
feels very likely what you guys are saying.
You know, we could talk on for hours about this, obviously. But Jerry, now it's time for you to play the Weirded Lorax.
All right.
Weirded Lorax.
Just get a long hair. The Weirded Lorax.
All right. Got some trippy effects going on today.
I'm nervous.
Jerry, great show, by the way, dude. We got to do a V2 soon.
Yeah, I'm
UFOs
down.
V2. We
Always.
Deep conspiracy episode.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of this topic.
We're
so
just their pets.
I
That's
like
all.
it. Yeah,
You know, we're like ants in an anthill.
Oh, God.
And we're so concerned with our little race going on here. We're just being watched the whole time. Who knows?
Yeah.
I hope they're watching me.
I hope they're watching me.
Occasionally they
Dun, dun, dun.
burn off an antler with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, exactly. So,
What
the
a
Weirded
trip.
Lorax, which of these events actually happened? You know Wes a long time, Jerry.
I have.
You should know these answers.
I hope so.
Number
I'm
one.
scared of some of them.
After stowing away in a train of laundry carts that the equipment manager of the Seattle Seahawks NFL team was towing to the locker room, Wes found a stray cheerleader's uniform that was accidentally left after a naughty interaction between her and one of the football players. After hiding away in the stadium for 3 days and living off frozen hot dogs and instant coffee, he then fit himself into the cheerleader uniform and joined the crew for the opening day celebration on the field until a child in the front row saw past the over-applied makeup and pointed him out to his mother that there was hair bulging from the bikini. Upon this shocking discovery, he was immediately escorted away from the field to protect the innocent eyes of football lovers internationally. Okay, that's number one.
Okay.
Very plausible.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, at his weekly Magic Mike celebration party, Wes surprised his fellow meetup friends by wearing a police uniform and pulling out handcuffs that initiated a shudder from each of the attendees. However, their nervousness instantly turned to delight when it was realized that the police uniform was only held on by Velcro, which was immediately ripped off, exposing his voluptuous body while he tworked to the song Macho Man by the Village People.
God, you're twerking.
Love that song.
my goodness.
Okay. Plausible.
And number 3, while fishing in the running waters of the Willamette River in beautiful Oregon, the bearded Lorax caught a baby shark, which would lead one to believe he immediately got baby sharked by Emily Lorax, his teenage Lorax calf. However, because it is literally impossible to baby shark someone while they're in the presence of a baby shark, as nature prevents this possibility due to the laws of physics, just as it is impossible to exhale and inhale at the same moment, he was then she-wolfed instead, which sent him into a hip-gyrating flurry, which ended with him falling overboard and climbing the side of the boat hysterically, while the remaining baby sharks nipped at his drooping shorts that exposed the crevice of his backside. Which of these events actually happened, Jerry?
Series of events there.
Can I ask one follow-up? If you had hot water for the coffee, why didn't you cook the hot dogs? I'm going with number 3. I think it's 3. Is it 3?
He's
I
right.
just ate the instant coffee.
Oh, you just ate the ground. Okay, all right.
Oh my
Baby
goodness.
sharked.
He got baby sharks
And then he
repeatedly.
got she-wolfed.
Oh my goodness.
I heard he liked it.
Yeah.
He does.
I she-wolfed Wes at the Alaska Leaf Bowl in his room, and he was very surprised and disgruntled for the next 2 days.
What does it mean?
Is that what happened?
What is? How is that?
What is she-wolfing?
How is that a verb?
Save it for
How do you
another show.
she-wolf?
Let's talk
Yeah,
about that
what
later,
is
shall we?
Okay.
You surprise
what
someone by
exactly is
playing
she-wolf?
Shakira's She-Wolf when they least expect it.
Oh, okay.
It's so fun.
Kind of
Okay.
like we do with Baby Shark as well.
Yeah.
That's enough.
We like to play
explanation.
pranks.
She-wolf versus baby shark. I got it cleared up.
All right, Jerry, where can we find you on social media?
I'm at the Ganja Jinja or Close Encounter Confections.
And Jinja is Ginja.
Yes, no hard R's.
Jinja.
Yeah.
Jerry, thank you so much for being a huge brother to the
Yes.
Leaf Life
Yes.
organization, brother.
Absolutely. Yeah, for life.
Hey,
Leaf
Wes,
for life.
next week,
Leaf
isn't
life.
it apropos? The feds are fucked.
Oh, that's perfect.
Be nice to the feds. And maybe they'll be nice to us.
I don't know.
Download this and all Leaf Life episodes at leafmagazines.com. And please subscribe at YouTube, on YouTube, at Leaf Life Podcast V2. Now get ready for another episode of Stony Baloney, which is also available at leafmagazines.com. And please be kind to animals and baby sharks.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies. Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Amsterdam Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer. Now, please stay tuned for this week's edition of Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
The guy who waves too much. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being nice, because niceness is something that is severely lacking in today's self-gratification system. Back around the 1950s, the postman knew every member of the household by name, and the milkman was a friendly gentleman with a white smile and straight hat. These iconic staples were what represented the bright American standard that exemplified a high regard for your fellow countrymen. Business deals were ensured with a firm handshake. Pleasantries shared in that idyllic time were sweet and simple, epitomizing small-town ideals while reinforcing a sense of pride in being the war winners of the world. Cannabis users were psychotic, segregation was normal, and it was understood by the greater collective that the classic depiction of the Norman Rockwell archetype, be it a boy fishing with his dog or the president caught in a moment of prayer, was what to strive toward. Simplicity equated to contentment in the post-WW2 era, and cleanliness is next to godliness was the proverb of the ordered society where conformity was the key for success. So what happened? Well, things changed. Quite dramatically, in fact. Now, too much niceness, at least in person, lends towards suspicion. And when received in genuine fashion from a stranger in proximity, the creep dar turns curious and the apathy dar begins to peak. But what's so scary about being super friendly? What's wrong with saying hello to a passerby on the sidewalk or happily easing on the brake for another car to slip in front of you in traffic? Why do we apply a negative label to the friendly man who offers unsolicited waves simply for a reciprocated smile? In essence, there really is nothing to fear. We've just been manipulated by the controlled narrative to live in terror. So relax. He's probably just harmlessly baked anyway.
Stony baloney. Some of the wardrobe, including Ricker or Wes's sick lids, is provided by Grassroots California. Check out the dopeness at grassrootscalifornia.com.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.